Hi, I'm Andre and I'm a black nerd, and real talk, I think I might be getting Star Wars'd out. It's funny you keep seeing all these articles and think pieces talking about, are we gonna ever experience superhero movie fatigue? And I'm like, no, bring all the superhero movies you can. I might be experiencing Star Wars fatigue. I don't hate this franchise. I'm just kind of getting a little tired of the noise around it. Because not only do you have the movies, but you also have all the stories about the movies, and every single time something happens in Star Wars, everyone's gonna write an article about it or make a video about it. Then you got all the fandoms attacking each other because some people feel like Star Wars is going in the right direction, other people feel like it's losing its way. People trying to prove how pure of a Star Wars fan they are based on what they like or don't like about the newer movies, and then you got a new movie that's coming out. You got one every year, or in this case, only a few months. I mean, we literally just had The Last Jedi come out last December. I was sitting here looking at Solo going, wait, didn't we just have a Star Wars movie? And I was like, oh wait, yeah, we literally just had a Star Wars movie. Every single year or every 6 or 7 months. If you got a Jurassic Park or a Fast and Furious or a Mission Impossible movie every 6 or 7 months, you would be tired of dinosaurs, cars, and Tom Cruise falling off of stuff. It's not the same as Marvel for me. Like, Marvel has different superheroes, different characters, different genres within their superhero movies, so I feel like that they have a whole playground that they are able to play with. And honestly, I think Star Wars also could have a whole playground that they could play in. There's so many different stories in the realm of space that you could do in this world, but they keep constantly playing in the same sandbox. You got an entire playground to play, and you keep staying in the sandbox. Can you get out of the sandbox just once, Star Wars? I'm tired of you being in the sandbox. I hate sand. That being said, the movies themselves, they aren't bad. It's just, I know what I'm getting, and I think that's what's happening with Solo. Yeah, Solo has some flaws. There's some things I can say that are bad about it, but there's a lot of stuff that I can say that's good about it too. This is a movie that if you go see it, you won't feel bad about seeing it, but it's also a movie that you don't really need to see if you don't want to see, if that makes sense. And like I said in my reaction to the movie, I did find it fun. I had a good time with it. That was just my personal feelings. But you know, if you say anything positive about Star Wars, there's a bunch of people who had to come out and say, well, you're just being a corporate shill. You just said a nice thing about it because you went to the premiere. Yeah, that's me, corporate shill, because I went to the premiere that I wasn't invited to, and that my friend asked for me to go with him as a +1 because he was invited and he thought that I should go because he knows I talk about movies and therefore should probably be at the thing that is a movie that I was not invited to by the company that I'm supposedly a paid corporate shill for. Really makes sense to pay somebody to go see a movie that they weren't invited to go see. It's also interesting that people will call you sheep for not following their opinion of their group. How dare you be a sheep and have a different opinion than me. I'm fucking tired of Star Wars, y'all. This is gonna be a compliment. I was expecting worse. Like, I really was going in this movie thinking it was going to be terrible. And I had my reasons. First off, it's a Star Wars prequel. Also, you're dealing with a Star Wars story about Han Solo. That is an iconic Star Wars character. Does anyone really want to see anyone else try to attempt what Harrison Ford created with that character? That's like taking another of Harrison Ford's characters and making a young version of him, like a young Indiana Jones. Do we want that? Would anyone ever watch a young Indiana Jones? And of course, there were the production troubles, which is something I don't think everyone knows about. I think when we're on the internet talking about this movie news all the time, we assume that everybody's aware of it, but a lot of people just go to the movies without even knowing about what happened behind the scenes. But yes, Lord and Miller, the Lego movie guys, were supposed to be the directors of this, and something happened and they left and Ron Howard came in. It still ended up being a competent movie and not a train wreck. It ended up working fine. And I think what really helps a lot is that Ron Howard's a good director, man. Like, he knows what he's doing. There's some shots in this movie that I think are absolutely beautiful. Like, if you don't like the movie, you at least got some new wallpaper or screensavers. It tries to be a little bit different by being this heist movie or this Western movie, but everything else feels very Star Wars, so it still kind of feels like another Star Wars movie. The movie is actually funny. It's tough to get humor in Star Wars, particularly in recent Star Wars. Like, one of the things I said about Last Jedi, which I'm not gonna say too much about Last Jedi because that just opened up a whole can of worms. But they attempted to do some jokes in that movie and some of them did not work. Whereas in this movie, I felt like the humor was a lot more natural and worked a lot better, and that was really good. I really like that. There's only a couple of jokes that do not work. There's one joke very early on that was terrible. And it's really bad because it happens early on in the movie. So if you're already going in the movie a little judgmental of it, that part is not gonna help you at all. But give it time, let that first part pass, and once you kind of get into an action sequence, you'll be good. Which that's a really good about this movie. There's a good action sequences in it. There's a good train scene. There's a good couple of fights in this. So I really liked all that stuff. That's where I feel like the movie kind of shined a lot. When we got into the actual heist of what they needed to do, and then we got to see how that all played out. That felt like a movie that was in the Star Wars universe, but felt a little bit different, and I really appreciated that. The acting was actually good in this. I was really impressed with everyone involved. No one ever felt like an impression, but at the same time felt like they could be the younger version of the characters that they were playing, and the new characters were good as well. Particularly Alden Ehrenreich. I had my suspicions, I had my worries, but he actually worked out fine. It's gonna take a bit of an adjustment, because again, Harrison Ford, but eventually he gets to a point where you then start to see like, okay, yes, this is a young Han Solo, like I just graduated college trying to figure out life Han Solo. Lando I thought was great. He was definitely one of my favorites. Didn't feel like he was trying to do an impression of Billy D. Williams, just more of the soul, the essence of Billy D, or the soul and the essence of Lando. So I thought that was good. And Donald Glover, just, you know, he's just talented. And then all the new characters were great as well. I thought everyone did a decent job. No one ever feels like a bad character in this at all. There's a character that they introduced in this movie that I thought was really cool. And then when they had a twist on this character, I thought that was really cool. But for all the humans in this movie, I'm sorry, my favorite character in this thing was Chewie. Chewbacca has the best story arc. He has the best introduction. He has the best scenes. He's great. Yes, he's the character that just goes and stuff, but he's still better than the people talking. Chewie rocks, because you've got some characters that are established characters from earlier Star Wars movies. They can only have so much liberty in how they play the character. The characters are limited in scope of what they can do. You can't have Lando or Han do something extremely crazy and then be like, that's not something that Han or Lando would do. And the problem with doing a prequel when you introduce new characters is you go, well, if that new character you're introducing me to is not someone I've seen before in movies that take place later in this timeline, then obviously I can only have so much investment in these characters because they're not gonna be around for much longer. They're either gonna die, they're gonna turn evil, or they're gonna have limited screen time, or they're gonna ride off into the sunset. And that's pretty much what happens with every character that's not Han, Lando, and Chewie. Including one death that I'm gonna real. I was mad. There was a character that died in this movie. I was not happy about it. And I knew it was coming because there was a certain part in the movie when I started watching it and I went, hold up. That character has only so many scenes in the trailer, and I've pretty much seen all the scenes that that character has in the trailer already in this movie, and we're like a third into this movie. So either that means that this character is gonna do a lot of really cool stuff later on and they tried to hide, or this character's gonna die. L3, that's the droid that Lando has. She has some jokes that are really, really funny, but then they keep letting her do jokes. She's kind of doing like a android rights, like robots don't have the same rights as people type of thing. Of course, there's gonna be some people who are gonna read way into that. I thought she was fine. I thought the actress that played her was funny. I thought the character was good. I think they probably could have just taken a couple of jokes away from her. And if you do find her annoying, like I said, if you're not Han, Lando, or Chewie, you're not in this movie very long. Jon Favreau voices an alien character, and I thought his performance was good and I liked the character, but for some reason, because he's the only CG character with this group of people, I couldn't help but keep looking at him and think about Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. And then it made me think about Guardians of the Galaxy. It made me think about how it's in space as well. Ragtag group of people doing jobs in space, and it's better than this. So it's probably wasn't a good idea. Guardians of the Galaxy might be a better Solo movie than Solo. However, I do like the references to the Star Wars universe. You get to see the Millennium Falcon, of course. You get to see Han and Lando play the game to get the Millennium Falcon, which I thought that was really cool. And they do a little cool twist to it. All the talks about the Kessel Run and all that stuff, it's all in there. Obviously do subtle nods to other Star Wars elements without going too far into it. There's no C-3PO or R2-D2, no Death Star roaming around, or a little mini tiny Death Star baby. No. This movie even makes a positive nod, in my opinion, to the Star Wars Holiday Special. I know that sounds weird, but I really feel like there's a part. You tell me if you see it. Chewie's talking about other Wookiees and they're like, I don't know if he means like his family or his tribe. And then he meets someone else and has a bond. I feel like you're kind of referencing Star Wars Holiday Special, but kind of also not. And you actually did a good job with that. Happy Life Day. And then near the end of this movie, there is a character that gets revealed and I was just like, okay. For a prequel where I expected everything to happen, I was not expecting that character to show up. Damn, okay. I gotta give you props for that. I was not expecting that. You got me there. And that's a character that I still feel like should have had more of that character. I know that some people got more of that character if they watch Star Wars on TV, but I'm just saying, wow. But then that leads to some other random twists, which I feel like is them trying to either open up a storyline or a set of movies for another character in this movie, or to create a sequel to this movie. And I'm like, look, we're gonna let you get one Solo movie, and I'm not even saying it's a bad one. I'm saying it's decent, so stop. Don't push it, kid. Don't get cocky. The only dumb, stupid, should not have happened reference that happens in Solo: A Star Wars Story has to do with his name. This movie deliberately, blatantly tells you why he's called Han Solo, and it is the most ridiculous thing. You'll see it as soon as he's talking to somebody. You're like, oh, this is it, right? It's one of those moments where someone should have been like, you're Han, look straight to camera. Solo, yeah! It's funny because the title had already shown for the movie before this scene happens. If it were me, I totally would have been like, your name is Han, and just cut to title. I think that would have made it work even better. But even still, I'm telling you, y'all, if you don't want to like this movie, that one part will be the one thing that you can use as evidence to be like, nope, I don't hate this movie. I think there's some things that are good about it, but I for that part, I gotta agree. Because I'm just like, seriously, you had to figure out a way to tell us he got the name. That was okay. So you see what I'm talking about here? There's some stuff in this movie that's decent and good and fun and interesting, but then there's some stuff that just, you know, it is what it is because it's a Star Wars movie and it's a Star Wars prequel. I didn't come out of this thing going, oh my God, that was the worst movie ever. I just was like, hey, for what it was supposed to be, it could have been a lot worse. It was better than what I expected. It's just a regular movie set in Star Wars, but I think that might be the problem. I think for some people, Star Wars is a very sacred franchise, and it's not okay to just have okay movies in it. You want great movies in it because all of them have been great. Star Wars just has this weird thing that it keeps doing with these movies where it wants to take risks and it wants to be safe, and it's really tough because both the franchise itself and its fandom, when it does things that are safe, people feel like they're just getting repeats and rehash, and when it tries to do something different, then people are like, well, you're not respecting tradition of what was already been established. So I think the only way to fight that is to do something that's in the world but has no connection. Show us something in Star Wars that has nothing to do with Skywalkers, has nothing to do with the characters we already know. Go to a different planet, just somewhere where something else is just happening, and let's play around in there, because I think that will give you the liberties of being like, we're in Star Wars, but we can do whatever the hell we want. Get episode 9, and then just like, let Star Wars just kind of chill out. Give Star Wars a social media break. You know, like how people are like, I gotta get off Twitter for a week and enjoy life. Star Wars, do that, but like for 2 years. But hey, if you need more Star Wars in your life, Solo is a way to get it, and it's not gonna hurt you, and it's not gonna be bad for you. It'll be just fine. This movie is just fine. It was fun. Just like I said in the corporate shield reaction video that you claimed I made. Done. Done with Star Wars. Bye. Off. Love you like a play cousin 95,000. Bye.